everyone and their grandmothers, I think, is talking, of course, about the case of Joe Biden. And I think it is definitely one worth talking about. Um, I didn't watch the debate live, but I saw the clips the morning after. And I think, you know, they should replace him. I really think after that performance, which was a bad performance, they need to replace him. Because you cannot have that type of perception going forward, because those clips are going to be played by the Republicans, by Trump, and repeated ad nauseum until the election day. You're going to see that played out constantly. But, and this is the silver lining, this was done now. We are in June. The American elections take place in November. But a lot of like Americans are not paying attention to politics. They are still not even thinking about who they are going to vote for yet. And there was a lot of evidence from like the polls that came out, especially independents, who are really, I think, going to be the big deciders in this upcoming election, especially in swing states. They hate Trump. They've seen all the court cases, etc. They hate him. They are being put off him in a very, very significant way. But Joe Biden's performance did not put them off. So that is, I think, quite a significant silver lining. But we still come back to the question of, what do you do about Joe Biden? And you might say, well, you're American. Why am I talking about this? Just this is going to have big implications. Like, make no mistake, if Trump wins, we know what's going to happen. Ukraine aid going to come to a stop. He's going to do something to insist that negotiations take place, something which is ultimately going to be very, very bad for Ukraine being forced into these negotiations, especially when you take the current Russian negotiating position. Could be very likely he could try to remove the sanctions placed on Russia, which again will be very, very bad for Ukraine. Not only that, but there's also implications of what does happen if Vladimir Putin decides, well, I'm just going to not invade somewhere fully. I'm just going to go and take a border town. I'm just going to go, well, that's mine now. So before we do continue, please do remember to click on the like, the share button, and of course down below there's the Patreon page, etc., and of course all that good stuff down below. So go check those out. And yeah, thank you very much for all the people who do support the channel, even if you just click the like and share button. So what happens here? Honestly, if the Democrats are going to replace Biden, they're going to do it quickly. Make no mistake, if they are going to replace Biden, it's going to happen, I think, within the week. Any longer than that, I don't think it's going to happen. And I think you could very, very easily risk derailing the rest of Biden's re-election campaign. We've seen something very similar to that almost happen, with Rishi Sunak and the UK election campaign. So trust me, you do not want that to happen in your re-election campaign as well. But if it's going to happen, it has to happen, I think, within the next week. Has to happen within the next week. I don't think you could do it out. And you are seeing a lot of news, like I think it's the New York Post apparently has put out a big editorial saying Biden shouldn't be running, that, we need to change to someone else. It's just too risky. And I agree. The Ukraine stuff that could happen, that is very incredibly risky. You've got Project 2025, which is also incredibly terrifying, incredibly terrifying. So it would be I think, a massive dereliction of duty if you had the opportunity to change your candidate and you didn't take that opportunity. Now, let's address some of the Biden defenders that, oh, this was just a bad debate performance. I agree. We have seen bad debate performances before, and candidates have gone on to win. But it's how much does that cut through? How much does this cut through to the rest of the campaign? That's the big issue. That's the problem that we could see emerge from this. It's, will that go through? Will this come forward to it? We don't know how big an impact it will have on things going forward. This is why, if you are going to change Biden at all, it's got to happen. It's got to happen almost now, within like the next week or so, or else it ain't happening. The next obvious question is, well, who do you replace him with? And to be honest, as people are saying, there are candidates, but it's, who do you go with? I mean, there's Kamala Harris names being thrown out, Gavin Newsom. Some people have said Pete Buttigieg. There's a lot of names at this moment in time being thrown around, and who knows who it could be. Like, if they decide to go with someone, you do not know at this moment in time who it could be, because it's going to be Biden's decision to step down at this point. As far as I'm aware, it's going to be that. So far, we haven't heard anyone withdrawing their support, like, significantly from Biden. There's a lot of worry. There's a lot of panic. Understandable. But this could definitely affect Biden going down further line. And I think, in what should not be a close election, this should not be a close election. And this is honestly a problem from Biden's communication team. He's got to really start getting out that he's done a lot of good stuff with the economy, how he's sort of, what stuff he has done over the last couple of years that's been very good for America. He's got to start communicating that. Hopefully, that's going to kick off now that, we've seen that. But the debate stage ideally should have been the moment where we could communicate that to the audience. And unfortunately, that's not what was coming from it. The message you are seeing coming from this, and again, from an outsider's perspective, you were seeing the message of Biden was old. There was, cognitive decline, all kinds of stuff which could put a lot of voters off potentially down the line. Now, there is another debate happening in September, and at that, Biden has to perform. He cannot have the same performance, because if he does, remember, September, October, November, a lot more Americans are going to be paying attention to the election in September than they are now here in June. So hopefully, they can turn this around. I really do hope they can turn this around, because we cannot afford another 4 more years of Donald Trump. He will go and do a lot of bad stuff in America, but on the world stage as well, there will be a lot of consequences for a Trump presidency. A lot of consequences. So hopefully they can turn this around, or they will make the decision within, like I say, within the next week, and they will change to someone else, whoever that might be. I'm sure people will be putting their candidates' names that they would like to see down in the comments down below. But also, I don't think it would be Bernie Sanders either. Like I say, he's someone else who is very, very old. And I think one of the things that the Democrats are going to have to really do is start getting new talent into the Democratic Party. Start getting them into positions for their names to get out there, and start putting them in more prominent positions. Otherwise, this is how you end up with Biden and the situation you saw at that debate last night. So let me know what you think, especially if you're American. Let me know what you think, to my outsider's perspective looking in. What do you think to all this at the moment? I'd be very interested to sort of hear what you've got to say. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.